Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Today I want to talk to you about the biggest question that's been asked all week long by a lot of people. But are there too many Optimus Primes? Are we oversaturating the market with the masterpiece Optimus Primes because there's one after the other? Now, I'm not even getting into the movie Primes or the Bumblebee movie Prime, the Bavers Primes, and all that. We're just sticking with G1 masterpiece scale Primes, and are there too many? And also asking the question, does this open the door to more Magic Square Masterpiece figures? Because I'd like to see that. Talk about this and more coming up. Okay, so first off, we're going to look at these other Optimus that are already on the market for the Masterpiece G1 style Optimus Prime. And with that, we have on the left the MP10. Now, when that one first came out, it was okay. I did not like the proportions. I thought the lower legs were way too big, and I had two of them in my hands at Toys R Us for 100 each, and I was going to get them both, and I like, nah, maybe I'll just catch them later on a sale or something. It doesn't look that great, but of course, the thing sold out, and everybody was paying like $300 for a while for that thing. Then next to it is the Transform Element TE, and that one looks way better than I thought it would. I mean, the grayscale of the design did not look good, but once it's painted up and all that kind of stuff, and it's got die cast in it, so it is actually a pretty decent option. Then the next one, of course, is the Magic Square, the first one. And so that one, I thought it was a bit too bulky for my liking. So we'll see if it's still too bulky for this new one when we get to the side-by-side of each one of these. And then on the right is the MP44. Now, MP44 is more or less the new gold standard, but it's not perfect. A lot of people do have issues with it. And kind of getting into the fact that that one was the most expensive and the MSRP of $450 and broken knee problems and paint chipping and all that kind of stuff. So getting into it, let's do a quick side-by-side comparison of the new one to each one of these. Okay, so there was a nice little video that Magic Squared put out, so it made side-by-sides a little easier, but screen capturing from that video is a little lower resolution, probably going in individually getting pictures, but still it's kind of fun to see their video and the kind of cool stuff they put in there. So side by side, next to MP10, the new version is slimmer, sleeker, and it does look a little bit better. The proportions are better. Now, if you're looking at on the left, that's the new Magic Square. You can see behind that the back. There's some square piece on the back, which I guess it forms the hood or roof or something. That's off-putting, and that's starting to bother me more. I look at these pictures, and we'll see more individual pictures here in a bit. But that's sort of off-putting. But still, side by side, going for a tuned look, and I like the way it looks more or less. So the next one we get is versus itself, its own Magic Square self. And so it is sleeker and slimmer, and so it does do some things better. But I kind of feel like the shoulders are up a little high on this one. The smokestacks are a little short, in my opinion, so I would like to have longer smokestacks on it. And then But yeah, it does look a little bit better in every way except the back area. The back of it looks kind of odd. So a lot of people feel like this is really trying to knock off and copy the MP44. So when we get to that one, we'll see. But looking at this, it's slimmer and sleeker. So that kind of makes me think something Ultra Magnus Armor maybe. We'll look at that here in a bit. And then we have Transform Element. Now Transform Element is still a slimmer and sleeker, but I always felt like the Transform Element one, it was just way too thin in the thighs. He's like real thin in the thighs. That was kind of a weird look to it, but I do kind of like how they frosted the chest so you don't see the inside. And on this one here, you don't really see the inside components like as bad as you did with the first Magic Square Prime, but Transform Element still looks pretty good. It still kind of holds up. So when we get into kind of are there too many primes, the discussion aspect of this, there's some stuff to say about that. But if you do kind of look at it, the overall proportions are much more similar on these than some of the other ones, but I think the thighs are a little bit better on this one. Now versus the MP44 and looking at that. So here's the thing about this. It doesn't exactly copy it, but it copies more or less the framework of it, the silhouette. And with that, though, the shoulders are up a little higher. I don't know exactly why they went that route. And of course, a lot of people complain about the backpack that the MP44 has, and I think Magic Square heard that, and so they tried to engineer a way not to have a backpack like that. And so with that, now they got this big square thing on the back that keeps sticking out. You see the edges of it and all that kind of stuff. But overall, it's a little bit cleaner at the knees. I bet you're not going to have a problem with the joints and that kind of stuff. But overall, I think MP44 still wins side by side. Now, will this win in price? We don't know the price yet. It's up for pre-order at Show Z, but it's just a $1 down or no official price. So I'm guessing about the $130 price range. That's my guess. my guess. I hope it's not much more than that. So let's take a deeper look at some better pictures of this guy overall. And so I found these on ShowZ, and looking at this, you can see the backpack is much flatter than what we got with MP44, and it's still better than what they did with the MP44 KO, where they flattened that one out too. So I think that the backpack looks better. But the fact is, it's too wide. They should have figured out a way to get rid of those corners on it and just make it look better from the front. But still, that is pretty good articulation too. Got to show that whole superhero pose. Here he is in a running pose, and you kind of see that now they copy. You can see this. They're copying the way that the hip flap goes into the hip. Now, they've been doing that with their Legends for a long time, so that's nothing new. But now that's something with this. And so that looks pretty good too overall, the way they did that and the articulation. And so in these poses, it looks phenomenal. It looks amazing. I do like the way the fingers look. Do they splay? Now here we are with showing the Matrix, the Matrix Chamber, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I did see the transformation. It looks sort of similar, a little different than before, but not too complex, not too overly ridiculously complex. Some cool ideas that were added in there that I thought was pretty slick, but when I get to reviewing it, I can point all that stuff out. But this is not too bad from this angle and the way it all works. I like this confused look going on here, like don't know what's going on. But of course, we still have the chrome mixed with a toon look, so I do like the fact that there's still some chrome involved in there. So yes, this is sort of a Prime upgrade, but is it a big enough upgrade? Is it worth the time to, invest $50,000 in tooling to make a whole new figure and go that route instead of maybe another character? So let's look at this. So first of all, there's going to be a lot of people out there that have their MP10 or one of these other options that doesn't want to upgrade, especially those that are holding strong and holding hard to that MP10, and they've resisted the urge to all these other ones, the MP44, the Transform Element, the first Magic Square, and all that stuff, and they don't want to upgrade. So those people wouldn't be buying. But that's not going to oversaturate the market exactly. So with that, just because they're not buying doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot of people out there that will buy. The reason that they're making Optimus Prime, of course, obviously the number one reason is because Primes sell. And there are improvements to this one. And if you look at this alt mode, it is a better alt mode than what we see with MP44 and all that kind of stuff. So it is a nice alt mode, nice clean alt mode, but at the end of the day, it's another Optimus Prime, and Optimus Primes always sell. They always do, and that's why people make them. It's like a surefire bet, and anyone new to collecting, it's nice to have a new option or an option that's actually on the shelf or in stock at these retailers, so that when you start collecting Masterpiece Transformers, one of the first figures you get is an Optimus Prime and a Megatron. Maybe the first figure you get is a Bumblebee or something that you really cared about as a kid or whatever, but then within the first 5, it's usually an Optimus Prime. Speaking of the alt modes, it's cleaner than its own Magic Square self, but it loses the stripe, which is, hey, options. So more options are out there. So that's a good thing for this in a way. There are more options out there. So let's say you like the alt mode that was originally, I did not like this alt mode originally because that the back was just so thick. Those legs just took up so much space. They figured out a way to flatten it out with this design, so that does make the alt mode a lot better. And that's another thing is that, okay, so we get another Optimus Prime, maybe I'll throw one of in alt mode. And it is cleaner than Takara's. Takara's is, this picture shows it sort of, but man, if they showed the straight back of it, you would say definitely way cleaner than Takara. But again, options are good, and having more options to choose from, that's good. But think about the people that get the new one and sell their old one. So not only do you have the option of this one right now and right here, but you have more options that'll show up on the secondary market. A lot of people that collect don't want 7 Optimus Primes. They might have 2 or 3, but they eventually sell an extra one off, so it sells older ones into the community, and then of course people can say, hey, I'd like to pick that one up so I can try it out or test it out. I always thought I'd like an MP10 or at least MP10 in the alt mode. And one thing I hear over and over and over, anytime someone's selling a Masterpiece Optimus Prime and there's a trailer, everyone wants that trailer. Everybody wants that trailer. I didn't think a trailer was that big of a deal, but since so many of these came without a trailer, including this one, so many people want that trailer, that MP10 trailer. That's a pretty hot commodity. Next up, something I never really thought I cared about was the recolor. All these different recolors and repurposed mold with different colors. Nemesis Prime, the original Ultra Magnus, kind of based off the toy look and that kind of stuff. I got that one. So I've got 3 of the first Magic Square mold, and then I've got 3 of the MP44 KOs. I never thought I'd be that guy, to tell you the truth. I never thought, like, I got one Prime, that's good. I don't need all these recolors, none of these for me. But there's so many recolors. I think MP10 is the mastermind of recolors. I think there's like 30 recolored MP10s. I'm not joking. I think there's literally 30 recolors out there. They did a whole line of shoes, gym shoes or something. I don't know, Nikes or something, Reebok, I don't know. But they had some shoes, and they matched the new recolored Optimus Prime. It was crazy, but it was something that they did. There's so many MP10s that are out there floating around, and so many different recolors. So I don't know if anyone's ever going to beat that, because they had almost a whole decade of getting recolored. But then again, we're entering into a new era, so maybe Magic Square is going to try to like do all these different recolors of this new mold. So that kind of brings us into this precedent that has been set in the past by Magic Square themselves in their Legends game, and that is bringing in armor to their figures. So they've got a standard figure and it's got armor on it. It's a trailer turns into the armor. Now that's pretty similar to what they did with New Age, but I don't have that one, so I really can't speak about that one so much, and really I kind of watched that one from a distance. But I can say that I like it when it's put together, the bots put together, but it's still too bulky for me. So in my mind I'm thinking, okay, so they're putting this on the first version of their Magic Square design for Optimus Prime. So the second version is a little sleeker, so maybe they're going to come out with a second version of armor, because they never upscaled this to fit their first one. Maybe they're going to do it for the second one. That's what I'm thinking. That's my thought process. So I will have one, and what I found was I put an Optimus Prime in this armor and it worked fine. It actually worked better than putting the white colored version of the Magnus, or whatever they were calling that one. But I'm hoping they do this. But the problem was their trailer was a piece of junk in trailer mode. It barely stayed together, and it shipped in trailer mode, so when you open it up, you open a box of parts, and they're just rattled around. And you're like, it's broken? No, it's just a super ultra parts format with like 35 pieces. So that was an issue in itself also. So will they change it if they come out with a trailer? I mean, I'm just all speculating here, but I would kind of hope they don't use this exact design. Obviously they can't, because it was made for the first version. So maybe they use some of these ideas and come up with some better new ideas. Who knows? But I would still like to see it. And even if it was exactly like this, I'd be on board with giving it a shot. So this brings us to the last point. Will they make more characters? And really, there is a need for more Megatrons. Now, I don't know if Magic Square themselves made this video, or if they commissioned somebody else to make it and just come up with quirky stuff to say. But I really feel like this is a nod towards, we're gonna make Megatron. And if they do, that would be a phenomenal release. See, MP36 is great, and I love it. It's been knocked off, so you can get one for $60. Fantastic. But it is super, from the back, it is super broken up. It is not clean at all. It's a bit mess and kibble and all kinds of crazy stuff going on in the back there. And so with that bothers a lot of people. That doesn't really bother me so much. I really do like the look of this. But wouldn't it be interesting to see what Magic Square could do? So if we can go that avenue and go that route, I would like to see it. So that gets to the very heart of the discussion. Magic Square's made so many great figures, and there's so many more great figures on the way. They've proven they can be a player in the Masterpiece space, so why don't they? So why don't they put more of their designs and upscale them? Why don't they take a little bit more risk? Because Optimus Prime obviously is a zero risk character, it seems. Megatron would be an almost zero risk character, but they could do a few more. I love all of their designs, and why not take a couple more risks? Because they're doing a good job at Legends. I know a lot of people don't like their quality of their plastic and the lack of paint, so maybe they need to upscale these. They need to put a little bit more into it, some paint and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'd like to see more characters also. I don't want to just sit here and get Magic Square 3.0 and them just trying to keep up with Takara and how many versions of the same character in the Masterpiece scale. I actually would like to see more characters myself. So that's where I stand. Please give us some eggs, give us a couple others going forward. So how do you stand on this? Do you feel like there are too many Optimus Primes already? Are we oversaturated in the Masterpiece, in the Legends, in every single department when it comes to Transformers? Or bring them on. Bring the more Primes, the merrier. I mean, I'm sure that I could make another video, the more Primes, the merrier, and it would probably be a 50-50 split. I really think in the comments below, I'm going to find a 50-50 split, but it's kind of a fun conversation, but I like the future to have more characters. Like and subscribe. Titanium Hanger out.